Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timmy. So in today's video, I want us to address the issue of why divorces happen and why they are demonized. So this specifically is to women, right? So there's a difference between what they tell you and what people actually mean. So I don't know why divorces are demonized. I personally feel like divorces are demonized because it has come to be a resource that women use. It has come to be a resource that is useful to women because before now, women were literally being owned as properties and women did not have the right to divorce. Sometimes when you talk, especially within religion, right? I feel like divorces are demonized within religion because women use divorces as they use it as something that enables them escape really terrible situations. So in a bid to keep these women bound, they tend to demonize any idea that is helpful to women. Why divorces happen? If you notice, divorces happen within the first 10 years of marriage. So most divorces that happen within the first 10 years of marriage. And the older it gets, it kind of narrows down. The number goes drastically lower. Now, this happens between the first 10 years of marriage because that first 10 years of marriage is the childbearing age of that marriage or the childbirth era of that marriage. And men do not view marriage in the same way that women do marriage or view marriage, right? So you are married to a man. Now, when I talk about this, I'm talking strictly about heterosexual relationships. Men are not socialized to take responsibilities. They just lie to women that men are responsible and men take responsibility, but they don't. Most of the time, when it comes to emotional responsibility, mental responsibility, and physical responsibilities that are required to keep a household together, those are things that women do. Those are responsibilities that, in fact, a lot of people just automatically know that it's it's the woman's responsibility to do all of that, right? And they don't even try to bargain it. Now, women get married hoping that they they want companionship, they want intimacy. Usually when women get married, these are the things they want. They want companionship, they want intimacy. They pretty much want that person who is a friend, right? And men, on the other hand, get married because they usually will tell you they want companionship, but they are not willing to accept companionship. They don't accept partnership. They are not looking for a friend, right? So they are pretty much looking for everything that they need in life is what they are looking for from one person. They are looking for a nurse. They are looking for a servant. They are looking for a cook. They are looking for a cleaner. They are looking for their mother, in fact, in one person. So they drop every responsibility on women. And at the beginning stage of marriage, women are usually happy to take on those responsibilities. So you have women get married and, oh, my husband is not feeling too well today. I would not go to work so I can cater for him. A woman can resign her job if her husband has an ill health that would last maybe a year, 3 months, or whatever. A woman can literally resign her job so that she can take care of him, right? And that in itself is not bad. It's just when it is not something that can be replicated for you, can be reciprocated for you, or it's not something that um when it's not something that would even be appreciated for it, that is where it gets crazy. So from that early stage, women don't mind cooking, they don't mind cleaning, they don't mind doing all those things. In fact, they are happy and excited to do it. They will be a nurse, they will be a therapist, they will be a masseuse, they will be literally anything for this man because it at this point that is all that it is for them to do, right? They just got married, they are still very at the excitement age stage, and there's no so much responsibilities on them, right? They don't have to, aside from this man, they literally don't have to take care of anyone else. So it gets to a point where after they begin to pour into these men in this manner, these men enjoy and absorb these sacrifices or these things that women bring to them. They enjoy it. And that is why when you see a single man, right? Single men are usually the ones who demonize the idea of marriage. Men who are single would come out and tell you, oh, I don't care about marriage. Whoa, who won't marry self? Who won't likes women enough to marry? But any man who is married, they honor and respect the idea of marriage. They would protect the idea of marriage with their lives. Even men who, quote unquote, are in relationships where in marriages where their wives are doing something wrong to them or their wives are not understanding, they still want to remain married, right? So you would see a woman who is telling you how much she does not want to be married again. Women don't, after marriage, they tend to not, it's like something falls off, a scale falls off their eyes and they kind of see marriage for what it is and they really don't want to get married again. But you would never see a man who has been married and come out and tell you he does not want to be married again. Even if he does not want to be married to that particular woman, he still wants to be married to another woman because he understands the value that marriage brings to him. You will see a divorced man, he wants to remarry. A widower, they want to remarry because women bring tremendous value that mouth cannot explain. There are values that women bring into the lives of men that you cannot explain it to somebody, right? And because those things are not monetized, so usually we can't explain, we can't monetize them, but then they are there, right? Now, where marriages begin to take a wrong turn is when a woman, even when a woman is pregnant, it looks like, oh, this woman is stressing me. She's always calling me, come and rub my leg, come and do that. And men begin to complain even at this stage because men do not get socialized to go into marriage to serve anybody. If at all, men are socialized that women will come and serve them, right? So women, on the other hand, they tell you, it's like from childhood, they are training you for this particular purpose, the purpose of serving a man, the purpose of catering for a man. But men are trained that somebody will come and serve them, somebody will cater to them. So the fact that he has to rub your feet from pregnancy, he's beginning to complain. I have a friend who got married. At the time she got married, 3 months into the marriage, she called me and she was excited. Oh, she's pregnant and all, and I was happy for her. Then in less than a month, she had called again to tell me she does not understand this man that she married anymore. That she had severe, at that first trimester, she had issues and her legs were swelling. She was, no, I think that was like, yeah, that was like the second trimester. Was it? No, I think either first or second trimester, she was having, her feet were aching and she needed this man to help her. So if she gets massage and foot rubs, she feels better. And this man started complaining he would not do that. And he would not do it. In fact, he got to a point where the complaints became too much, so he stopped coming to the house. He will come home maybe around 1 or 2 a.m., right? And this lady would cry and cry and cry. Now, here's the thing. Men do not bargain to be useful to you in marriage. Outside of finances, they do not bargain to be useful. So the only thing that they are socialized to feel like they can offer you is finances. So outside of that finances, there's nothing else that they've learned. There's nothing else that they feel like they can do, right? So that is one of the issues. And during pregnancy and childbirth, women are at their most vulnerable states. At that point, a woman needs she needs somebody who is mentally supportive, physically supportive, emotionally supportive, and somebody who has understanding of the female body and understanding of what goes on in her body. Because there are things that when you stay around a pregnant person, there are things they can explain to you. They are trying to explain what is happening and there's no words to explain it, right? Now, men do not prepare themselves for this. Women prepare themselves for marriage, for childbirth, for parenting. At least they read books, they try to attend seminars. When you go to all these seminars, parenting seminars, it's women you see there. When you go to marriage seminars, you see women. You don't see men in all these kind of organizations or in all these gatherings. Men do not care, like they can care less about it. So there's no point where they feel like they can be useful to you. Men do not learn about the female body. Men do not learn about marriage. Men do not learn about anything. They just enter into marriage. And we have the society, instead of the society to focus on teaching and growing better men who will learn about these things, they keep gathering women to teach them more about marriage, teach them more about how to cope with men, because men do not know these things. They keep promoting the idea of marriage with men who do not know these things. And that is how women get in situations where it's like they keep learning to perfect the idea of marriage all their lives. They are learning how to perfect the idea of marriage, and the idea never gets perfected. They resort to praying. They pray, and it never gets answered. Because you're praying about something that will literally never happen. It's never going to happen. Prayer requires a person's will as well. If a person is not willing, there's nothing you can do about it. Now back to the issue of why divorces happen between the first 10 years of marriage. Men are not equipped to handle that kind of pressure, that kind of stress. They did not bargain to serve you. So they bargain that they are getting a help. It's just like, imagine you employ a house help. Even when the house help is like sick, in as much as you care and you're like, oh, an employee, at the back of your mind, there's something like, oh, let them recover so they can resume work, because they have to resume work, right? And if they don't resume, if the ill health continues and it thrives to a certain point, you're like, nope, I have to employ someone else. So that is how men feel women are disposable. So men like the idea, so they would frustrate you. They would not want to divorce you as long as they've not found somebody to replace you. So a lot of them will try to manage, but in that managing, they will frustrate you. They will keep frustrating you so that you use your own mouth to look for a divorce so that you can leave, so they find somebody who would replace you. Or if they ever leave, it's because they have found somebody to replace you. So I don't know why women get excited about the idea of marriage, and I don't get why women follow men to demonize the idea of divorce. And also something that women do is, a man who was not supportive to his wife would come to you and tell you, oh, they got a divorce and so and so and so, and he wants to marry you. And for some reason, you believe that man's story without having a conversation with people who knew the wife. You married the man because he told you that they could not sort out their issues. They broke up on mutual terms, or he told you his ex-wife is crazy, or his ex-wife did this, his ex-wife did that. And you ask him, how many years were you married for? He will tell you 4 years, 5 years. He's been married for 5 years and he divorced the woman because she was having kids. And because he did not want to be a supportive partner, neither was he interested in being a supportive husband. And that is the reason they got a divorce. That is the reason. Because men after childbirth begin to complain, oh, the woman is no longer paying attention to me. Yeah, she could do that before she had kids because she had the time, she had the energy. Now there are children involved. She does not have the time, she does not have the energy. So they would detach from this woman emotionally. A lot of them begin to cheat at this time. A lot of them become violent even. They become toxic. I don't know if women understand that a lot of men even hate their children. They do. because they feel like they blame their children for causing a drift in their relationship sometimes. So you're marrying somebody who was divorced, and because the man told you that his ex-wife did this, you believed him and you want to marry him because you're Mother Teresa. You're the one who is supposed to save him from his ex-wife. And you know, there's something really sickening that women do also. A man can have a wife who is sick and they will still date the man because they believe, oh, he's a man, he has needs. And she's not a human being. She's not a woman with needs as well. Like anytime a man comes to you with the idea of, oh, he's divorced and this, and the situation is very different for women, right? So I know that somebody will come here and be like, oh, because I'm discouraging the issue of marrying men who are divorced. And it is a different thing for a woman. A woman gets divorced because she has tried and tried and tried, and most likely the relationship was toxic towards her. Most likely because the man was no longer getting benefits from her, he became abusive and became toxic. So she couldn't tolerate his abuse and toxicity anymore, and she left. For men, it is not the same thing. Most likely, how many men do you know that wake up at night to care for their kids? Let's not even begin to talk about postpartum depression. Because when men tell you their ex-wife was crazy, they're actually talking about postpartum depression. The woman probably was depressed, but he had no interest in learning about it, no interest in trying to help her. But women are in a haste to marry men who abandon their wives in that manner, all in the name of he told you this. When you ask women who marry men like that, they'll say, oh, the man said his wife, I'm like, his wife was crazy, or his wife this. He said, you're saying what he said. Who told you that is the truth? And the pressure is kind of much on women, right? But the problem is, before childbearing, those pressures are something that a woman could manage. But after childbirth, it's like there's a lot, right? Because women go through hormonal changes, their body is changing, their minds are changing. Things that would matter to you would no longer matter to you anymore, right? And then you now have this child, you are stressed, you cannot recognize your body anymore, you slip into depression, right? Your mind is changing, is playing tricks on you, your body is playing tricks on you, and then you have a whole human being to care for, and then the society is still putting pressure on you that just because you had a child does not mean you should not show affection to your husband, who is another adult, who is supposed to be a partner, and who is supposed to be involved in this child rearing era. But for some reason, he's a man and the society excuses him even if he's not involved, and they put that pressure on you as a woman. You're trying to keep this child alive while you are going through depression, right? And you're trying to keep yourself alive. Then they're also trying to get you to look attractive for the man that you married. We have women who just had kids, and in less than 3 months after they had children, they are already talking about how they want their body to bounce back so that their husbands can find them attractive. At that point, you shouldn't even be having sex to begin with. You shouldn't be. Hospitals just tell you 6 months, not because you're totally healed and ready for that in 6 weeks. Sorry. That 6 weeks, they just say it because they know that even if they actually tell you give your body 3 to 6 months, men are still going to put women under a lot of pressure. So they put that particular one, at least to an extent your body can handle some things after 6 weeks. But women put themselves, they are going through all that pressure and there's no support, right? And you're worried about keeping an adult. In fact, at that point, women are worried about, oh, let me find something for him to eat. They are still doing that workload. There was a lady who came on my live and was trying to explain what happened when her sister was in the hospital. And she was trying to explain how her sister had just had a kid, but the sister was worried about what the husband will eat and what. I'm like, very often than not, that happens. That happens a lot. It's not something strange. When she said that, I and my other hosts who were co-hosting we started laughing because it is a common thing that women experience. It is not anything strange. that a woman will have kids, and in that hospital, she said she had cesarean section. In that hospital, you'll be worrying about how to find something for the man to eat, or if you had a child before that one, you're worrying about, oh, please, did they bathe the child? Did they cook for the child? Because a lot of these men are very incompetent. They are incompetent, and they have no business being parents, right? And to think women do these things and a man would still be the one to say the number of children that he wants and all, knowing fully well he's not going to be a supportive partner. And that's because men are socialized to believe that these things are natural things that a woman's body should do. And they are natural things that a woman's body is designed for. That's what women are made for. And I also blame religion hugely because of, on top of these issues. Giving example of that lady also, I remember when my own sister had her child, she fell into postpartum depression as well, to a point where hers was so drastic, to a point where she almost passed. She dealt with that thing for over a year. She had postpartum depression. She could not sleep. In a day, she would sleep less than an hour, even on medication and injections and all. She was moving. She was so, like, it was so real that from one hospital to another, from one doctor to another, she was eventually referred to a psychiatric hospital even. And even in that psychiatric hospital, it's like the pain was too much on her. So at a point, she believed it was a spiritual problem. So she was moving from church to find solution. And this man was not even doing all these hospital trips with her. He was not taking care of the baby because they had to come back to our family house, and our mother had to be the one to be taking care of her and the baby and all. So the man would just stroll and come and say hello and leave, right? This lady was going through this thing, and she, at a point, one day, I think he called her, and he was like, oh, he doesn't understand, because his sister had to come and start living with him so she can be able to cook for him, because he was such a man child, right? So the sister he called that he does not understand this food that the sister is cooking and all. So at that time, they had even asked me to go and help him make stews and soups and put in the freezer for him to be able to feed. So these are the kind of people that women are having children by. And this is a typical man. I'm not even talking about a man who is a bad man. This is typically a man, a normal man that you would think about, right? The society does not even consider this kind of a man abusive. They consider him the perfect husband material, as long as he has a job, he can rent a house, or maybe he has a house or something, and it automatically makes him somebody who should marry. That's how she struggled. She would go from one pastor to another. This man had the effrontery to come and report her that he does not like the fact that she's moving from one pastor to another. He doesn't like it. This is somebody who almost died. She would tell you she's already seeing dead people. She would not sleep. She does not sleep. She would say she was going crazy, literally. And she would say, if she goes for all those prayers, I'm not even saying that I agree with the whole church thing as well, but she was looking for a solution to her problems, right? And she would be like, anytime they have those prayers, she's able to rest a little. She feels a little bit better. So anything that makes her feel better, why exactly do you have a problem with it? And that thing lasted almost 2 years, because it was more than a year, way more than a year. So for almost 2 years, she struggled with that before she eventually became better. If she had passed, this man would have remarried, and a woman will come and say, oh, they pity him. He lost his wife. Oh no, she had a baby. She has a small child, and they will pity him and they will marry him. That man would have remarried between a blink of an eye. So with all these things, she personally is somebody who does not believe in divorces, right? With how unsupportive this man has been, if she wakes up tomorrow, if she was somebody who believes in getting a divorce and she asks for a divorce, they will say, she divorced him for no reason. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, this. And another woman will be out here willing to jump into the marriage because they told you. So whenever you hear men who are divorced, as a lady, especially if you're a young girl in your 20s and your 30s, you have no business marrying a man who got a divorce. You have no business. There's a reason why that woman left. Women are socialized to adore marriage. Women are socialized to put marriage on a pedestal. So if a woman refuses, tells you, looks at you with the pressure and the way the society demonizes divorce, and a woman tells you she's not willing to stay in that relationship regardless, she does not care about what people will say about her when she goes out, but she still insists on leaving that relationship, what makes you think you're the person who is normal? What makes you think women like to feel like they're special or they're better than another woman? That behavior is why women are still in bondage till today. That behavior of believing that you're better than his ex-wife, that behavior of thinking, oh, his wife self cannot cook, so you're the one who can cook. Oh, his ex-wife cannot do this one. Oh, his ex-wife was crazy, the woman was not submissive, so you are the queen of submission, abi. So these are the reasons why women issues continue and they progress within society, because women also enable these men to behave that way. I also understand that that comes from our upbringing, our socialization as well. Women are not socialized to be in solidarity with each other, right? So while men act like they have a cult-like solidarity, women do not have solidarity with each other. A man would look at a woman who a man abandoned, who had a child by a man and a man abandoned, and he would be like, oh, she's a baby mama. He doesn't, why did the previous guy not marry her? But women will marry men who have 15 children and are not paying child support. And for some reason, they believe this man who told them that all 15 baby mamas are crazy. And you're the one who can deal with him better. You're the one who is not crazy. Men are loyal to the cult of the patriarchy, but women are not loyal to, they are not in solidarity with each other. And divorces are demonized because it's women who need divorces. If you see the kind of campaigns and researches and everything that has been coming up, right? Women have been abused within marriage for decades. Abuses for centuries. Women have been abused within marriage. Women have been complaining. Marriages have not been working for women. And it is not a national concern. But the moment women are beginning to back out and are like, oh, they don't even want to do this whole idea of marriage again, they are no longer interested, and then men are becoming lonely, it now becomes a national concern that they are doing researches and like, oh, male loneliness, the rise of male loneliness. And even governments of countries are making laws to force women to marry men, to force women to be with men. I recently heard that in Japan, they were proposing a bill that any woman who is not married before the age of 25 they would force her they want to reduce female education. Women should not be going to school again. So they want to discourage education for women. And another thing is, if you get to the age of 30 and you don't have kids, they will force you to have a hysterectomy, right? Why? So that it will encourage women to marry and focus on having families and focus on having children. So when men have an issue, it is a national concern. You can see the abortion ban laws in America right now. That is in a bid to force women into motherhood. And I feel like this is a call for women to stop. Do not sleep with men. If you must, please use protection. But as much as you can, don't do it. And for women who are married in America who believes that, because I've been seeing a lot of videos of some women who are like, women just don't want to take accountability for not closing their legs. I find that very disturbing, because a lot of them, I see them with wedding bands. You think you are married is enough and you are safe. That is, and you think it's okay for you to come out and shame other women. I find it very funny even, because when that thing pulls through, even you as a married woman who you need that abortion, maybe medical reasons, they will deny you that abortion as well. So women don't look at things on a bigger scale. They just come out to say certain things that are even a danger to them themselves. The whole American American politics, right? So they are trying to ban no fault divorces. So if you're divorcing somebody, it has to be for abuse, physical abuse. Already women are not able to prove emotional abuse and mental abuse, financial abuse and all. It will be nonsense in court. So they are busy trying to force you to only stick with physical abuse, of which somebody can physically abuse you and maybe you don't even have evidence. So it's going to make women accessing divorces even way, way more difficult than it already is. I don't know if y'all realize that divorces are expensive and they are actually difficult, because sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I've seen somebody who has applied for a divorce that it's been 21 years till this day they've not finalized their divorce. I don't know why that is anyway. Women are forced to remain with their abusers and remain. It's like they are trying to take you guys back to 1850s. And as women, we don't have a unifying voice. Back to the conversation. Why do people think divorces are such a bad thing? People don't think relationship breakups are a bad thing, right? They think it is helpful. Relationships breakups are normal. So why are marriage breakups not normal? At this point, I will just end this conversation here, right? So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I have a new video up on the channel. See you in my next video, guys. Bye.